Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars issue 49 by Charles Soule, Jethro Morales and Rachel Rosenberg. Princess Leia is left at the mercy of Commander Zara, the former Imperial leader she and the rebellion tangled with about 15 issues ago. Zara, having been left to die by the princess on Pansika, is not happy to see her, revealing that she managed to escape the gross monster's grasp, but not before it spat acid on her, causing her to lose her arm and leg and become horrifically scarred. Yet she still managed to kill the creature and escape, all thanks to it was destroyed, and this is just Zara fucking with Leia and kind of throwing her off balance, knowing that it will get under her skin. And it's something that Zara has done before while hunting Leia in the previous story arc, and it's why I really like her as a foil for Leia. She knows how to push the princess's buttons unlike any other villain they've really tangled with and get under her skin really well, so I really like that Soule has brought that back in her character and has done it so well. I just like the glee that Zara has in telling her that she destroyed the fleet, and she does it so nonchalantly as well. It's great. While Leia is carted away, Zara is alerted to another escape pod from the destroyed cruiser and figures it's Luke Skywalker, another prize the Empire has been seeking for some time. Zara has the pod brought onto the ship, and I love that she's taking all these precautions to make sure no one opens the pod, but Luke just slashes his way out of it with his lightsaber, all while still in the vacuum of space, and actually uses the Force to launch himself into the hangar. Seeing Luke do all these cool feats of Force prowess is always a lot of fun, and Jethro Morales and Rachel Rosenberg understand the assignment, doing a great job capturing the action of Star Wars. You know, it's really fast paced, it's chaotic, especially through this issue where Luke just causes some utter chaos in this hangar in order to get Leia free, and I really like the use of the speed lines we see when a character makes a movement on a page. It's used very heavily throughout the back half of this issue to help sell the speed and ferocity of both Luke and Leia when she's fighting Zara later on in the issue. Luke confronts Zara and orders Leia to be freed, but the pirates attack and Luke is forced to defend himself. Leia is quick to tell him that Evan has gone for reinforcements, so they need to prevent the raider ship from going to hyperspace so the rebellion can help them. Luke is more than happy to cause a little bit of chaos and uses the Force to basically wreck the entire hangar, causing a fire to break out, and Leia finds Zara amongst the chaos and fights her the best she can, although Zara and her vibro sword prove to be the better combatants, stabbing Leia in the shoulder. Zara orders the ship into hyperspace, but is told by her droid that thanks to the chaos that Luke has unleashed, they are too damaged to move. Hearing what the Jedi did without even breaking a sweat causes her pirate crew to flee in terror, using their fighters just to escape into deep space. I think it's great how much Soule has leaned on the legend of the Jedi when it comes to Luke. He never really has to do much and just kind of show up, ignite his saber, and at some points not even do that, just show up and people just see that he has a lightsaber and like know what he's about. Sometimes it's even just the name Luke Skywalker. People know him as the guy who destroyed the first Death Star and know that he is someone who was not to be messed with and tells them everything they need to know about him. Zara, however, doesn't care for the Jedi legend and attacks Luke, who easily beats her, cutting her blade in half as the rebellion's ship arrive out of hyperspace. With no other option, Zara tries to flee in her own fighter, and Leia rightfully questions why Luke let her go, and he gives a pretty reasonable answer, figuring that she has learned from her mistakes and maybe will change her ways now. However, Zara is quick to prove him wrong as she swings her ship around to try and blow Luke and Leia out of the hangar. Realizing that Zara will never change her ways and will always make the same choices, Leia gives the rebel fleet the order, and Zara's ship is obliterated, killing the woman along with it. I really like how this is relating back to Luke's talk with Leia about choices, and Leia sort of finding herself stuck with making one choice and always doing that one choice before doing something else. You know, Zara made her own choice here, and neither Luke or Leia made it for her, and this was the wrong choice, and she could have chosen to do something else, but she didn't because that was just who she is. She thought there was that only one choice for her. Later, after Leia has her wounds tended to on the home one, Evan stops by with some good news and a pretty fairly obvious news. The survivor fleet are very much alive, and Zara just lied to Leia, only destroying a couple of ships in the fleet. So this was a pretty obvious lie from Zara just to mess with Leia, but had the story actually been longer, even just by one issue, it could have been expanded upon with Leia feeling guilt over them being killed or going off to look for the survivors in order to, have some sort of closure. But having it be such an obvious lie that all of us reading it would have picked it up. Surely Leia would have picked it up, and it kind of deflates the tension of that part of the story. It probably would have actually been better had Zara actually killed them, because that would have been something she would have done just to, get one over on Leia, just to get one victory over Leia. She took the one thing she had left of her homeworld and destroyed it, just utterly destroyed everything Leia had as an identity. That would have been a really interesting way to go with it as well. Leia makes contact with the fleet, talking with Bion Bionel, the man in charge of the fleet whom Leia met back in that Wade series. Bion reveals that what's left of the fleet all decided to split up and went their separate ways to rejoin the galaxy and keep the spirit of Alderaan alive. Leia doesn't really like this, but Bion imparts a great bit of wisdom to her and something that makes her mind click, reminding Leia that they will always be Alderaan, but they don't have to just be that, since holding on to things means they couldn't be anything else, and to survive, they need to move on and live and adapt. It's a nice bit of life advice I think everyone could actually do with knowing from time to time, and it's one thing that Leia needed to know in order to help assure herself in what she should do next. Later on, Leia tells her gathered friends that while she has always been a rebel and always will believe in the rebellion, they can't just be that. They have to be something more, something else to survive, and it's why she's choosing to be someone who lives and is surrounded by friends and loved ones. Which is why she intends on rescuing Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt before attacking the second Death Star and getting back their family, basically. So now we've finally caught up to Return of the Jedi, and the Rebels are now setting up Han's rescue, and I'm not sure how much we'll actually see of that, if any, in issue 50, being that that's the last issue before the timeline of the comics moves forward till after Return of the Jedi in October. I do like how much Soul really did fill out the timeline while there was a hell of a lot that actually went on in universe in what was amounted to just a little bit over a year. There was a hell of a lot. Dark Droids, the Crimson Trilogy, all of this great stuff. It was a lot to pack into 1 year, but he managed to do it, and then at the end of it kind of put everything back together again and sort of ended in a place where we can eventually just go into Return of the Jedi. It's a very hard thing to do, I imagine, wrapping up all of these storylines and kind of roping everything together, and he managed to do it quite well. Star Wars issue 49 ended Soul's final story arc before the big issue 50, focusing on Leia and her battle with choice and being something more than a rebel. I really like Soul's callbacks to Mark Waid's comic series from almost a decade ago, building on Leia's journey in that to find her people in a meaningful way. But one I think that could have been a little bit better had it had a lot more room to breathe and a couple more issues maybe, and done a lot sooner in the book's run and not right at the end. Still, it was a highly enjoyable issue. I'm going to give this issue an 8.5 out of 10.